scientists, we are coming to the end of our understanding and research of the solar system. You have done such an amazing job learning about the patterns within our solar system, and you have really shown me that you can compare and contrast different parts of our solar system. So, for the next 2 days, we are going to be showcasing all that we have learned by doing a fun little project to showcase what you have learned. So today what we're going to do is we're going to watch a video that compares and contrasts the inner and the outer planets. So what makes the inner planets special? What are the patterns that they all share? And what are the patterns that our outer planets share? Then what you are going to do, and I'll show you this, your job today, which is Monday, you are going to create your very own inner planet. So if there was a brand new planet in our solar system that was considered an inner planet, what would you name it? What would it look like? And then what characteristics of an inner planet would it have? Then tomorrow you are going to be doing the outer planet. So if we had a new outer planet in our solar system, what would that look like? What would it have? What kind of weather would it have that is the same as the other outer planets? So we're going to be walking through that together. But before we do that, we're going to watch this video that compares the inner and the outer planets. I want you to think about what is one thing that all the inner planets have in common, and what's one thing that all the outer planets have in common. And then we're going to start our video and we will discuss throughout.
That orbit our sun, but did you know that they can be separated into two groups? One group includes the 4 planets closest to the sun: Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. These are known as the inner planets or the terrestrial planets. The other group of planets, categorized as the outer planets, contains the 4 planets farthest from the sun: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The inner planets and the outer planets are separated by the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is a region of asteroids orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. Although each of the 8 planets have distinctive features, there are trends that categorize the inner planets and the outer planets.
Listen closely.
Inner planets are smaller in size than the outer planets. Mercury is the smallest inner planet with a diameter of 3,000.
So one thing that we can say is if we make an inner planet, one characteristic would be that it needs to be a small planet. It's not going to be super huge because we know a pattern in our solar system is that our inner planets are smaller than the outer planets.
31 miles. The outer planets are much larger, the largest being Jupiter with a diameter of 88,846 miles. Another differing factor between inner planets and outer planets is that inner planets have solid surfaces and thin or no atmospheres.
Okay, so that's another thing. We could say that if we make an inner planet, that it has to have a solid surface because it's a terrestrial or rocky planet. It also has no or a very thin atmosphere compared to the outer planets. So even though Earth has an atmosphere, right, it's not as thick as the atmosphere of the gas giants because they're just made of gas, so it's going to be thicker.
In theory, it would be possible to stand on each of the inner planets, although you would only survive on Earth. The outer planets are all made of gas, although scientists believe that they might have a much smaller or liquid center. Anyway, it would be impossible to stand on any of the outer planets.
So outer planets are made of gas.
Inner planets are different from outer planets because they have greater density. The elements in the inner planets are more closely packed together, causing them to be smaller. Despite being larger, the elements making up the outer planets are less densely packed together. The atmospheres vary among the inner planets, where the atmospheres in the outer planets are all the same. The contents of the atmosphere of the inner planets varied from planet to planet. Mercury has no atmosphere. Venus's atmosphere is mostly carbon dioxide. Earth's atmosphere is mostly nitrogen. The outer planets generally have all the same atmosphere, which consists mostly of hydrogen and helium. Inner planets orbit the sun at a faster rate than outer planets.
Okay, so that's another pattern we can think. So if they orbit, they're in orbit a lot faster because they're closer. So their years are going to be similar to the 365 days that we have here on Earth. But remember, those outer planets, they're so far away that it takes many, many years to even get one orbit or one revolution around the sun.
As we know, Earth takes about 365 days. The outer planets are millions of miles away from the Sun. Therefore, they have a much greater distance to cover to complete one orbit. Neptune takes over 164 years for it to make its way all the way around the Sun. Inner planets spin slower compared to outer planets. Earth rotates on its axis the fastest at 23 hours and 56 minutes. The outer planets spin faster. Jupiter spins the quickest in the solar system. It only takes 9 hours and 55 minutes to rotate once.
So those outer planets, even though it takes them longer to go around the sun, they spin for day and night much faster than the inner planets.
The inner planets have fewer moons than the outer planets. As we know, Earth only has one moon. Mars has two, and the rest of the inner planets don't have any moons. All of the outer planets have many moons orbiting them. 63 no moons orbit Jupiter. Moons aren't the only features surrounding the outer planets. All of the outer planets have rings orbiting them.
So that's something that you should be thinking about for tomorrow when you make your outer planet. What does it have to have if it's an outer planet? Rings.
The rings are thin disks of dust and rocks. Saturn has the most visible ring system of any of the planets. None of the inner planets have rings orbiting them. Although each of the planets in our solar system are unique, they can be split into two groups, inner planets and outer planets. With further space exploration, scientists are sure to find even more differences and similarities between planets.
Okay, so now that we have reviewed some characteristics of inner versus outer planets, let's talk about what your job is going to be for today and tomorrow. So today, you are going to find this paper in your Seesaw account. So I'll make myself a little smaller. So you are going to design a new inner planet, okay? So a planet that doesn't exist, but it has to have characteristics that follow the patterns of inner planets. So you're going to name your planet. So what would you name your planet if you were to discover an inner planet? And then you are going to draw what your planet looks like. Now, I don't want to see just scribbles here though, first grade. I want you to really be a scientist. I want you to take your time and really show me what your planet would look like. Does your inner planet have an atmosphere? What is it made up of? What does its surface look like? Does it have clouds? Does it have weather? Does it have landforms? What would it look like? And what color would it be? And then you are going to name at least 3 facts about your planet. But these 3 facts have to fall in the patterns of inner planets. So you cannot say your inner planet has rings because that is not a characteristic of inner planets. So you could talk about its atmosphere. So does it have oxygen like Earth or does it not? Does it have a thick atmosphere? Does it have a thin atmosphere? You could talk about its temperature. Now remember, our inner planets are not super, super cold because they're closer to the sun. So you have to think about, is it going to be super close to the sun like Mercury or is it going to be a little bit further out like where Mars is? You can talk about its core. You can talk about the gas. You can talk about what its surface looks like, its location. Is it the new second planet in our solar system? And then on the second page, I have our rubric. So you have to draw and label your new inner planet with 3 labels. So your illustration has to be really clear and easy to understand, and it has to include 3 or more labels that match inner planets. So you can't just label planet. I know it's a planet, and you can't just label its name. You have to label characteristics that tell more facts about your planet. And then you have to name 3 or more attributes that align to the inner planets, and that is your job. Now, as a little help though, I gave you some facts about inner planets at the bottom that you can use to help guide. So does your inner planet have a moon? Does it not have a moon? So you can read through these to get ideas of characteristics that your inner planet can have. And then tomorrow, you are going to do the exact same thing with an outer planet. So instead of having your inner planet, you are going to do your outer planet. So let me pull that up for you. And so tomorrow, I'll upload the same video, and you would write what your name of your outer planet, you would draw a picture of what your new outer planet looks like with 3 labels that match outer planets, and then you would write characteristics of your planet. So, what does its atmosphere like? What is its temperature? Where is it? So, does it have rings? And then again, you'll have to make sure you have a very clear illustration that includes 3 or more labels. And you need to name at least 3 attributes of your planet as well. Okay? And as help, I gave you guys an outer planets reading in here in case you need some information, and another fact sheet as well. So you're creating your own inner and outer planets. And so this video can help you with both Monday and Tuesday's assignments. Okay, first grade, I cannot wait to see your creativity with these. So go ahead and get started. I'm super excited. Bye, first grade.